Hey everyone, I want to talk about with Daisy right here. She's being a little brat, per usual. I want to talk about the fear of being stuck forever, and specifically the fear of having relapses and why breaking down that fear is so important for your recovery process, why it's so important to get used to the sensitized nerves, and why your OCD could come back at any moment. And allowing that to happen is extremely important. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button. We are growing like crazy. We love it. The more information we put out there, the more people really understand that they're not alone, right? And that's when Rob was creating this business, 10, 15 years ago, first started coaching people without any of the YouTube videos. And then I got involved about 3 years ago after I was starting to make some serious headway, reaching recovery on sensory motor, but not yet body dysmorphia or a lot of my physical symptoms of anxiety. But that didn't matter. I wanted to really get involved. And it means a lot to me. So this is a very important topic. It's very dear to my heart, this particular topic. Look at her. Look at this little cutie right here. Oh, is he young? She turns 9 this year, just so you know. So I've had dogs my whole life. So I've had dogs, come and go. This is Erica's first dog. So when this dog passes away, Erica's going to have a complete fucking conniption. So am I. I act like I'm going to be like so stoic about it. No way. I'm going to cry like a 2-year-old. So, and yeah, we still have our Christmas decorations up. The tree is still right here. I'm telling people in the WhatsApp groups, that tree's not coming down until after I get back from Ultra in March. That's about when Erica will have a meltdown. All of our stockings are out. All of our Christmas things are still up, like the pillowcases. Like all these ones, they're still here. Listen, I'm Saint Nick, right? I'm like an evil Saint Nick. So every person has the fear when it comes to the fear of being stuck with OCD for the remainder of their life. Every person has that fear because the suffering of OCD is so severe. My physical symptoms didn't get really bad until I was a couple years into the journey. That's when my physical symptoms really took a turn for the worst. And the reason why is because I had a lot of compulsive behaviors that I knew had to go, but I just let them play out in the background. And then what happened was they got worse and worse and worse. And then I just didn't take a realistic approach of how problematic some of my compulsive lying was, or I know I see you. My compulsive lying was, or let's see, my exercise avoidance or my nutrition problems, and it came to skip. Like the one big one I did that came back to bite me in the ass like a great white shark was like if I went out and had a dinner at a restaurant, I would skip. I would skip lunch the next day because I didn't want to consume too much food. And I had a horrible time with balance. Now I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I balance my portion control, and I try to move with that, and that tends to work really well for me. Sometimes I overeat, sometimes I don't, but I struggled with that. And then as I left that, and then was more compulsive about that over time, once I tried to cut that compulsion, my symptoms got really, really, really bad, my physical symptoms. So I got really scared again, because at that point I had no fear pattern. I would say I've been recovered for a long time from all my hyper-awareness sensory motor. There was aspects of my sensory motor and hyper-awareness that was based in like belt hyper-awareness or like stomach hyper-awareness from fear. But I would say for the most part, it was pretty good. And then every time I had these big setbacks and relapses, and I don't think I've really admitted this too many times on videos. I probably have because I made so much content, was because I had recovered from sensory motor. When I say recovered, I wasn't afraid of it coming back. My beliefs were very sound. I thought that belief work would just cater over into everything else in my journey. It wasn't true. I had a lot more work to do in my body dysmorphia. I had a lot more work to do on physical symptoms. I had a lot more work to do on not needing to look the way I want, getting comfortable with any sort of physical image, accolades, rejections, fear of not looking good, overly taking care of myself too much to the max, the compulsive nutrition, exercise. I had a lot of problems I just didn't want to admit. And those problems have been there for a long time. 16, 17 years old, so 15, 17 years? So they weren't just going to go away without any serious effort. And then plus, no one wants to feel physical anxiety for the rest of their life. So I had to really look at that worst case scenario, which is if I remained chronically anxious forever, had all the symptoms that came with it, the blurry vision, the headaches, the heart palpitations, waking up multiple times a night. I know, you don't have to hit my hand. All the stomach problems, the irritability problems, all those things. Could I accept those things? Now I can. Now I can accept the presence of them. I have no avoidance behaviors whatsoever. But it took me a long time to get to where I am today. I mean, it took me a good couple of years to really change my beliefs, reread the book multiple times, all the ins and outs, all the mistakes, all the ups and downs, all the things I did incorrectly. But I had to keep pushing through, even when I felt confused, even when I felt like I wanted to give up. So you have to ask yourself, could you suffer with OCD for the remainder of your life? Most people would say no. They would say they kill themselves. Understandably so. I wanted to take my own life every day for a long time. Now I'm very grateful for the principles that I've learned on my journey to OCD recovery. I wouldn't trade them for anything. I'm really, really, really happy with what it's done for my life. I mean, just something as simple as like my body dysmorphia, right? Like just like something as simple as see what happens if you don't pet her, as like being able to just like see my stomach and grab it and like flap it around. Like that would have never happened in the past. I was very, very afraid of the physical anxiety symptoms halting my progress. I know a lot of people with body dysmorphia and fitness really struggle with that. Physical symptoms of anxiety ruining their ability to build muscle or make progress in the gym or get strong. That's an underspoken fear. That's unspoken fear that's very rampant in the fitness industry. So I had to get comfortable with that. And I don't really believe in potential or living my best self. That's a made-up concept. There's no such thing as the best self, and there's no such thing as living your best, because that will look different from time periods, your belief systems in the now, future, your past self, your current situation, et cetera, et cetera. So you're just doing the best that you can to live right now. And when I looked at that, like if I was to take exercise 70 from the first book, Stubbornly Refused, and I went through it, and I looked at my goal. So what's the goal? The goal is to be comfortable with the possibility that you could relapse on and off for the remainder of your life. Now, what would that bring for me? Because I had so many fears of stomach problems. It was a lot of diarrhea, a lot of gas, a lot of bloating. I had a lot of those fears. A lot of overeating from that as well, which didn't add because I was afraid of losing muscle. I had really terrible blurry vision. I had depersonalization for almost like, I don't know, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3 or 4 years straight. I had brief stints throughout the day, but I mean, I felt so depersonalized for so long. If I was having a conversation with you, it felt like I was in the Matrix from the video game. I'm sure many people can relate to that. That had a lot of physical symptoms that lingered afterwards. And while you're changing these beliefs, it is important to realize that a lot of these physical symptoms are going to be here for a really, really long time. Even when your beliefs are sound, your nerves are so sensitized, as Claire Weeks talks about, probably the best takeaway from her book and Self-Help for Your Nerves, that I underestimated how long it was going to take for me to really accept, not to get them to go away, but to accept that they could be there on and off or fluidly forever and really lean into that. It just took me a while. You know, it took me a while to wake up in the morning and it would be there, it would smack me in the face, but there was no internal dialogue to get rid of it. That took me a couple of years. And I just became accustomed to waking up with anxiety and panic and being jolted awake. So, and it's invisible. No one can see. I didn't need anyone to understand. I made so many mistakes of trying to get Erica to understand, or Rob, and stuff like that. And Rob used to say to me, hey, I don't need to understand. And, you don't have to tell me that much information. And, I appreciate it. But I don't need that much information. And I had to get comfortable with the possibility that the world didn't owe me anything. And OCD recovery didn't owe me anything. OCD doesn't owe me a thing. It could take everything from me if it wanted to. But it couldn't take my ability to change my perspectives, hopefully, or my behaviors, even if it was really hard. And we all have certain challenges in our lives that are going to, make things maybe more difficult. Maybe you live in an area of the world where people really don't understand OCD. That's why we have so much information now, which is great. Maybe you have other things. People are so obsessed nowadays with borderline personality disorder, being neurodivergent, having autistic traits, having ADHD. I'm not saying those things aren't real or that you don't have them, because I more than likely have ADHD myself. I was diagnosed at a very young age, but I don't even think about my ADHD diagnosis. It has no ability on my, on how I'm going to work at my life, at least in the way I see fit, which will look different from person to person. So remember, the fear of being stuck forever is a large driving fear in all of our OCD cycles. And it is something that will have to get brought down with unconditional acceptance, and the catastrophizing will have to come down and really leaning into discomfort. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. We got the bubs. Rob's one of those people that doesn't let the dog kiss him. Because you have stinky breath. You're a little stinky breather. And then Milo's over here. So, look at that big. Look at that. Look at that for the camera. Look at that for the camera. Right? But she's just like, what she'll do is she'll just basically, you know how pit bulls can be if you have one, they'll like just do a lot of that like head hitting. Like let's see if I can get her to do it. Hey. You know it's not all about you, right? You know you do have a brother who's just as important as you are. So it's good to show people the family and the dynamics because one of the biggest things I did when I was suffering was isolation. I played video games all day and I didn't want to leave my room. And that wasn't good. So thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support over the years. Please let me know what you think. Please let me know topics you want to see down below. Remember, the fear of being stuck forever. Your goal in OCD recovery, bless you. Your goal in OCD recovery is never to rid yourself of your suffering, is to become comfortable with it. But if it goes, which it has a high probability of going, if you change your perspectives and your beliefs, that's a great thing. Thank you as always. Thank you for all the years of watching our content. And please let me know what you want to see us cover down below. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one, everyone.